Hey guys, I'm Bucky and I'm new to Houdini. I was trying to make an octopus hand when I ended up making this lightning. So um, I'm new to Houdini anyways. So I just hope maybe recording this to my YouTube page, storing for memory's sake, and also for those who run into problem and sick and wanna do the same thing anyways. So I'm gonna go through this process of how I did this, okay? And I'm gonna start from the very beginning, okay, so that you follow along. It's not very complex, but it's just about 20 something minutes tutorial with explanation. Stay tuned. So let's go ahead and off this. I'm gonna create a new geometry container and call it lightning version 5. Okay. I'm gonna create a line node. So uh, with default, if you should click this, it shows you the number of your points. Okay. With default, a line node comes with 2 points. So if you might want to place this to 1, and you see you get an error, meaning the curve could not build with the specific parameters. So Houdini counts always 1 as 0. How do I even say it? Like these 2 points, we didn't even say is 1 2. It will say is 0 1 2. Then up you go. So that's just some basics. I want to be very fast with this tutorial. Just this is not like all beginner tutorials. Okay. So if you should set your length to 2 and set your point to 2. Okay, as you can see, we have 1 point here and we have 0 points here. So we want to calculate the distance between this point and this point. How are we going to do that? First, we create a blast node. So with this blast node, okay, I'm going to blast the top point first. I'm going to blast the top point first. But for me to keep the top point, okay, I'm going to blast the 0 point. So here I'm going to write 0, then specify the point, specify it as point. Now when I flag this node, you see our top point remains. So I'm going to duplicate this and specify it as 1. Now our lower point remains. So hope you get it. So I'm going to color this for virtual 8. Color this to red. Let's call this uh, keep 0, name this 0 points, and name this keep 1. Okay, so we're going to add an attribute verb node. So we're going to plug this line node here. We're going to plug it to the first input of our attribute verb, then plug this the beginning 0 to the second input, then plug this to the third input of our attribute. And when I flag this, we see everything because of course it's feeding from this. This is what is showing you this particular uh, uh, input here. So when we dive into this, you see this is more like a virtual coding. Okay, it's not going to be very complex. Just some little stuff that we're going to do. So what we want to do right now is we want to import this 0 point and this 1 point. So to do that, we dive into our hopnet, then search for import points. Select this import point attribute and make sure your your signature is set to 3 vector. Okay, as you can see, there are other options here. Set it to 3 vector because we want to calculate the position of our points. Okay, we have 0 and we have 1 point here. So for this, I'm going to color this let's see, green first, and I'm going to duplicate this and color it to red. So for the visual aid, we know this is we are importing this and we are importing this. Okay, so let's go jump right in there. So you might want to plug this first one, but don't do that because this first one already exists here as the position, as everything here. Okay, don't do that. Don't plug this first one. This first one already exists. You start from the second and the third input. So use this one, the second global parameters. Plug it to files, and for the third one, plug it to files. Select everything and hit Shift S to arrange it better. So as you can see, attribute verb gives us many attributes to play with. In this, for the sake of this tutorial, we won't go through all this. We'll just beat it so that it can be fast. So it gives us an output attribute also to play with. Okay, so how do we do this? I'm going to add so remember we blasted this the we blasted zero. We kept the 0 point and we kept the 1 point by deleting their opponent points. Meaning by deleting the 0 point here, we kept the first point. By deleting this, we kept this. So we want to add this together. Okay, by adding the distance node. What this node does is it gets the position of our points. Okay, it gets the position of our points. So when I plug this position 1 here, position 2 here, it gives us an output float. It gives us um, uh, an output distance output, like a float. That's what I mean by that. Now we want to get the length our of our line. Okay, remember on the line node I specified the length to be 2. Okay, so how do we go on to get this? So I'm going to add the fit range. Okay, so that we don't want to exceed that length of 2. That is why we are adding the fit range. So plug your distance to the value, then the remember this the line node has a length of 2, meaning the from the meaning the distance between this and this is 2 length. Okay, so that is the 1 point that we have here. So if you should go to your spreadsheet here, you will see the y-axis of our line node, which is this. This is the y-axis, the straight up axis. In Blender, this is the z-axis. So the y-axis of this node here is 2. That is what we placed here. So that is why on this node here, on the top node, the top point, it is the values on the spreadsheet is set as 2 on the y-axis. So with this in mind, we have to go into our pop node and take this. Remember, this is the red, and take this and plug into the max. So when we do this, hit on this, you will see that yeah, we've connected this anyways. So we have what we did now to review. To summarize, we imported our 2 nodes, point 0 and point p. Let me name it 12.1, point 0. Okay, so our point 0 has a value of 0, which is resting here, while our point 1 has a length. Sorry, our point 0 have a length of 0, which is placed downward, and our point 1 has a value of 2, which is placed up here. That is why we have to use our distance node to tell how far they are from each other. So our distance node gives us an output float, which we plug to a fit range because we don't want to supersede the length that our line initially comes with. So which is giving us which we place this on the value and on our then the the length that is coming from the top point, we placed it on the source mask. So we wanna create a color attribute with all this, because we want to use the color attribute to displace the object, the point position. Don't worry, you will understand what I mean as we go on. So I'm going to go ahead and create a ramp. So with this ramp parameter, plug this in here, plug this to the color. So as you can see already, our line changed color as we impute this to the color, telling us that this is going from a value of 0 to a value of 2. Okay, from a value of 0 to a value of 2. But I want to change this right now so that we have a better view. Instead of 2, okay, we can do 1.5. 1.5. Don't worry, you don't have to change anything inside your attribute verb, because is you've already plugged this in here. Automatically Houdini is going to change it, as you can see here. So when we go to the line, see, as I change this, as you can see, this is changing automatically. So let's do 1.5. So that's all for our node here. So right here, for us to for more visual aid, I'm going to turn this to dark so that we see better. Okay. Um, I'm going to switch this. Let's say give this a red color so that you see better. Let's give this a blue color. Uh, okay. So now you see what is happening. We have a value of color that is going from blue to red. That is going from blue to red. Okay. So when we push this, you'll see it's getting brighter. So I'm going to go ahead and leave it to white. Okay. So that you will understand what is happening. So that's all for now. I'm going to create a new and place this here. Let's go ahead and color this also. Okay. Now call this length find. Then change this to color attributes. Okay. So with this in mind, we're going to create another attribute. But with this attribute, we want to displace this this line node so that it looks as if then we animate the displacement so that it looks as if it's thunder strikes. Okay, so we're going to create a verb. But before that, when we plug this in here, we might want to jump in and start creating. For an instance, I can go ahead and say um, let's add this and add the noise here, then the position to the position. You see nothing happens, but something is actually happening, but we have small points. So what we need to do here is we need to add a resample node in between here. We need to add a resample node. Okay, with this resample node, turn off the maximum length. Okay, turn it off, then on the maximum length segment, I'm going to place it to 87, so we have more points to work with. So with this in mind, remember we have now 87 points to displace. Okay, with a length of 1.5, which is this that we found here from 0 to 1. Okay, and we created more points in between 0 to 1, which has 87 points. Okay, now let's jump in here. Now you can see our displacement is working. Now it's looking 2D-ish. What we need to do right now is on our turbulence noise, we will change the signature to 3D. Now it's looking much matured and better. Okay, so how do we get our our starting and our end point to sit on the original position. This is why we created what we did initially. And and remember, as we created this color node here, this, I think I'm going to change this. Oh, sorry, this was black. Let's do red now, blue, so that you see better. So remember, we have a value that is going from 0 to 1, okay, with the length of 1.5. So we created a color attribute. This is a color attribute that we created, because in here we are feeding everything that we did, or the whole importing and our length. We are feeding it to the color attribute because we want to use the color attribute to manipulate the displacement of this. Okay, so now when I search for another run, I'm going to use the color attribute to plug in here and plug this to the amplitude. Now you see what happened. You have to flag this. Now you see our 0 point returns to its original point, but we have a problem. This one here hasn't returned. Let me for my own sakes, you can add anything you want to add on the frequency. So I'm adding 1.5 so that um we have more distance to work with. 1.5 is okay. Yep, it's okay. 1.5. So we are only getting the original position of the zero, of the starting, of the end points, but of the lower point. What about the top point? It's not on the original position. How do we know this? So when we flag the resampling node, you can see the original position here, and the only one that is getting okay is this one here. So to fix this, so when we added this prompt, it gives us uh, outside our attribute verb, we can make this to be black. Okay, then in here we can make this to be white. So now we can play with the, as you can see, as I'm scrubbing through this, we are displacing our our uh, our we are displacing this along the color attribute, along the parameters of the color attribute, as you can see it here. So for us to make this to come back to the normal position, because we have to go to our color attribute and just play with this till it sits. So it's sitting at the value of 5 because at the length here we have 1.5. Okay, so it's sitting at the value of 5. So that is all we need to do to get this to its original position. So what about the animating, you may ask? But for us to animate, all we gotta do is jump into this attribute verb, plug in the offset to the time. Okay, that's all. Now when you hit play, we have our animated lightning. Okay, so now we can go to sweep and add this. This is what I wanted to use to add to do my uh, octopus character, which I ended up doing something else. You can do end cap, so we can apply this if you want, just to get that lightning view. Make this bigger, make this smaller. Yeah. So now when we tiny up this, so we have this, add the color. Okay, make it blue, flag this. So now when we hit play, as you can see, we have our lightning happening in real time. This will be all that I did to get this. So this for my own sake and for the sake of those who are new to Houdini with Blender's mindsets. It's a very sweet software anyways, the node setup and all. So I'm also keeping this for memory's sake in case if I come across any problem, I can always get back to it. So if you like the video, subscribe to my channel, and see you next time.